Today, I'll be addressing the lawsuit filed by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing after conducting a 2-year-long investigation into the business practices of Activision Blizzard. There are some disgusting and troubling allegations, which include female employees being subjected to constant sexual harassment, unequal pay, and retaliation for speaking up. Fair warning, this isn't an easy thing to read or talk about, so I'll give you a link to the lawsuit in the description so you can go through it at your own pace if that's something you're more comfortable with. The lawsuit has 3 main parts. Women are treated unfairly throughout the company in a wide variety of ways. They are victims of sexual harassment on a regular basis, and the higher-ups do nothing about it. Female employees get paid less when they start. They get paid less for similar positions. They had to work harder and longer to obtain similar promotions and higher compensation, and they weren't given as many opportunities. In some cases, they were passed over for promotions in favor of a less qualified, less experienced male co-worker who knew the head of the unit. In one instance, a newly promoted male supervisor delegated his responsibilities to his now female subordinates in favor of playing Call of Duty, and other male supervisors would even refuse to communicate with female employees. Pregnant female employees were also discriminated against, with one manager commenting they could not risk promoting a female employee as she might get pregnant and like being a mom too much. Medical restrictions were ignored, leading to negative performance reviews, and they were even kicked out of lactation rooms so employees could use them for meetings. And when women complained to HR about these issues, their complaints fell on deaf ears. As if the unequal treatment wasn't enough, female employees almost universally confirmed that working at Blizzard was akin to working in a frat house, with male employees drinking and subjecting female employees to sexual harassment with no repercussion. Cube crawls were common. They're basically when people get smashed on alcohol and crawl around the office, going cubicle to cubicle, harassing female employees and making lewd comments. Women were subjected to numerous sexual comments and advances, groping and unwanted physical touching and other forms of harassment. This behavior was known to supervisors and encouraged by them. In a blatant example of this harassment and nothing being done about it, Alex Afrasiabi was permitted to engage in sexual harassment with little to no repercussions. During BlizzCon, he would hit on female employees, try to kiss them, and put his arms around them. This was in plain view of other male employees, including supervisors who had to intervene and pull him off female employees. It was so bad and so well known that his suite was nicknamed the Cosby Suite. How sick is that? Like his actions were some kind of joke. J. Allen Brack, the current president of Blizzard Entertainment, allegedly had multiple conversations with Afrasiabi saying he was being too friendly towards female employees and he was given a slap on the wrist. Afrasiabi continued to make unwanted advances, including grabbing a female employee's hand and inviting her to his hotel room and groping another woman. The problems of harassment and discrimination extended to, and at the minimum, were known to those at the top. This isn't just a one-off case. It sounds like this is prevalent throughout the company for years, and the people in charge on top, who are supposed to protect their employees and ensure a safe work environment for all, did nothing about it, or at worst, contributed to the problem. So keep all of this in mind when we look at the response from Blizzard and Activision. In an internal email, which was very quickly leaked, Blizzard President J. Allen Brack said the fight for equality is incredibly important. He disdains bro culture and has spent his career fighting against it. If that's true, it sounds like you haven't done a particularly great job at that so far. Iterating on our culture with the same intensity that we bring to our games is imperative, with our values acting as our North Star. The people that work at the company make it what it is through their actions and creations. Each of us plays a role in maintaining a place of safety for one another. So at least there's some hint of a willingness to acknowledge and change here, but it really shouldn't take a lawsuit shining a bright light on the problems to get some action, especially considering JAB was listed as an enabler in the lawsuit. There have also been responses by Activision. This first one is from a spokesman at ActiBliz. They said the lawsuit includes distorted and in many cases false descriptions of Blizzard's past. They rushed to file an inaccurate complaint and commented that this type of irresponsible behavior from unaccountable state bureaucrats is driving many of the state's best businesses out of California. Here's another one from Fran Townsend, who is an Activision executive. She said the lawsuit presented a distorted and untrue picture of the company, included factually incorrect, old and out of context stories. She points out that during the 4 months she's been with the company, she hasn't seen any issues. So I guess that's that then. She also notes that they put tremendous effort into creating fair compensation policies and they have extensive anti-discrimination training. So according to them, nothing happened. They do pay fairly, they don't have any instances of harassment, and oh, if they did, it was a long time ago, so anyway, that obviously doesn't count. I honestly think they would have been better off saying nothing when compared to this, because this just proves they don't care, or they don't believe it, or this entire lawsuit is completely made up. But remember, this isn't something put together willy-nilly. This is a state agency that has been investigating for 2 years, working with employees suffering under these conditions. This is serious stuff, so to see those responses from both Activision and Blizzard is beyond disgusting. Downplaying the problem, constant deflecting, and in some cases outright denying that any of this happened. Obviously, you workers don't agree with you because there have been so many stories coming out over the last few days about personal experiences with sexual harassment, seeing it happen in the workplace, and knowing of several complaints about the environment that have all been dismissed. You have the leaders, who in some cases have been explicitly mentioned as being part of the problem, saying things are better now and they've been working on it and don't you worry about a thing. And then you have the actual workers saying this is exactly what the work environment is like and this lawsuit is long overdue. The WoW subreddit actually compiled a list of stories where people have been sharing their own experiences. I'll be sure to link that in the description as well. And the list keeps growing too. So how can you even pretend that you didn't know or that measures have been put in place to address the problem? Anything you've done obviously hasn't been enough, otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it right now. It's also incredibly worrying that some of the people mentioned in the lawsuit quietly left the company, and several other big names in Blizzard have either left, retired, or possibly been let go over the last 2 years. Which just and so happens to be the scope of this investigation. There were also mass layoffs semi-recently. Are they tied to this in any way? What if some of the layoffs were people trying to speak out against the harassment and everything else? It's insane how deep this could go. I used to think working at Blizzard would be a dream job. I grew up loving and living in the worlds they crafted and created. I know many of you probably felt the same way, but it looks like, in reality, working at Blizzard could be, and obviously has been for some people, an absolute nightmare, and that's just heartbreaking. It might also explain why the games haven't been living up to that legendary Blizzard quality. If you run down the list, there isn't really one Blizzard game that's thriving right now. StarCraft has been put to the side, Heroes of the Storm has been put to the side, Overwatch has been put to the side, and we have no idea what's happening with Overwatch 2, and Diablo has been a mess since the Immortal announcement. World of Warcraft is kinda trying to chug along despite long delays, and I guess Hearthstone seems to be doing well for itself, but there are lots of problems for both of those games too. But when you have guys shoving their workload off on female co-workers to instead play video games at work, or you have a group of guys getting smashed on alcohol and creepy crawling their way around cubicles and harassing women as they go, how are any of them expected to get any work done? All of this also contributes to an environment where people aren't happy, people are scared, they feel like they can't speak up, and they just have to endure the crap surrounding them. How can you even begin to hope to do anything worth worthwhile with this massive weight crushing down on your workers. No wonder the games have been struggling if that's what your employees have to drudge through and deal with on a regular basis. It's absolutely gross. There is a silver lining to all of this coming to light though, as more and more people talk about their experiences and what they went through. More and more people feel like their voice might be heard and actually listened to, so they too speak up. That feeling of empowerment is so important because if we don't listen, people start to think that they don't matter, and nothing could be further from the truth. This lawsuit presents Blizzard with an opportunity to finally right these wrongs and to work towards the Blizzard that we know they can be, a Blizzard that people would once again dream of being a part of, but that's only if they actually make some meaningful changes. The response so far has been abysmal, but maybe when the suit gets pushed forward we will start to see real action. Now before we wrap up, I would ask you to be understanding and be mindful of one another. People handle trauma in different ways. I've seen people calling for everyone to boycott Blizzard, people saying they're never going to give another cent to the company. I've also seen players find refuge with their guilds and their communities they've built in-game. Whether you decide to keep playing or to never return to WoW, that's your choice. If that makes you feel better, then it's the correct choice for you. That doesn't mean it's the right choice for everyone, so let everyone make their own choice to do what they feel is right for them, and please be excellent to each other. You deserve it, and so does everyone else. In my opinion, I think Hazel had an excellent section in her TwitLonger addressing the situation. The situation spreads beyond Blizzard, and if everyone who does not accept this leaves the community, what you are left with is another space where this behavior is overlooked and tolerated. I also believe it's possible to stay in the WoW community while also demanding accountability. So if you don't want to boycott Blizzard games, but you still want change, support the lawsuit and hold Blizzard accountable to foster a safe and equal work environment for the workers who make some of our favourite games. And keep in mind, while what's detailed in the lawsuit is reprehensible, Blizzard employs thousands of people and not all of them are part of these problems. Some of the victims of this lawsuit could still be with the company and depend on their jobs to survive. So going on a witch hunt and condemning all employees is not the right thing to do. Let the justice process unfold. Attacking people is not the right solution. The only way this moves forward is if those rotten few are held accountable, both the people who are sexually assaulting co-workers and the management who let it continue for so long, and a whole lot more needs to be done for women to be treated fairly and equally in the workplace. That's the whole purpose of this lawsuit, so let the process unfold, let justice be served, and support those who need it most right now. And if you really want to invoke change, look to your social circles, your communities, your guild. This isn't just a Blizzard problem, it's a people problem, it's a societal problem. Don't accept this kind of behavior around you. Call it out when it starts and it won't have a chance to grow. It's not hard to treat women like human beings and be a decent person, no matter the environment or excuses some people try to tell themselves. But those are my thoughts on the matter. Do whatever you feel is right for you, as long as you be a decent human being and be excellent to each other. I'll see you next time.